7 minutes past 7, you are listening to Sabahul Muslim on Radio Islam International. Yesterday, I heard something in the talk and in the majlis of Hazrat Abdul Mu'id Sahab Damat Barakatuhum, who was visiting our country and delivering discourses across the country and in Indonesia over the last few days. Today is his departure. He spoke the night before last about dua, and I touched on this in my opening remarks this morning, where he said that we've got all the problems, but we talk to everyone else except Allah. Talk to Allah, supplicate to Allah, connect with Allah. And I mentioned that, minimum once a day, you need to find a spot where it's quiet, where there's no distractions, physical distractions, where mentally also your mind is not scattered, and you focus totally on talking to Allah and putting your needs before Allah. And remember what Umar radiallahu anh said, whether my dua gets accepted or not, that's one thing, but I just enjoy having the conversation with Allah. As Muslims, we know the dua always gets accepted in some form or the other, at some point or the other. And last night, Hazrat spoke about gratitude. And the one point that he mentioned was so profound. He said, one is to be grateful for the external bounties which Allah has given us, for the internal bounties, for the innumerable bounties, for the bounties that we can't even count, and we're aware of that. But there are so many things that are considered to be bounties of Allah which we don't even realize is a bounty of Allah. He said, you woke up in the morning and your tongue is able to speak. That's a bounty of Allah. Allah could have taken away your speech. So there are so many things which Allah could have deprived you of and hasn't deprived you of, which is a bounty and you don't realize it. You drove to work, right? Or you drove to the masjid and back. You could have met up in an accident. You didn't. That's a bounty of Allah. You sitting in a house. The roof could fall on your head. It doesn't, or it didn't. That's a bounty of Allah. You could have had a house breaking. There's so many things that happens to other people all the time that is not happening to you. That is a bounty of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala upon you. So it's not only when you're blessed with something tangible and something that you were wanting or something that you were expecting or something that is normally what people ask Allah for. That obviously is a bounty of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. You wanted a child, you got a child. You wanted a house, you got a house. You wanted a car, you got a car. That is the bounty of Allah for which we need to be grateful. But what we also need to be grateful for, and we shouldn't lose sight of this, is that there are so many things that are already part of our lives. The fact that you woke up in the morning and your children were safe and sound, that your wife was happy and healthy, that your husband was able and going out to earn a living and had a business or had a job. These are all bounties from Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala that we need to be cognizant of. You could have been walking down the steps and you could have slipped. You could have broken a leg. For the next 6 to 8 weeks, you would have been in a cast. Your life would have been turned upside down. You would not have been able to drive. You would not have been able to to bath properly, to dress properly, to do so many things for yourself. It would have become exceptionally difficult as a result of you having slipped and broken your leg. You didn't slip. That is because Allah didn't want you to slip. And that is a bounty of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. He then spoke about how one of the great scholars, who was a disciple of Hakim al-Ummat rahmatullah alayh, at one stage in his life, he was going through a lot of difficulty. Children were not well. There were issues domestically. There were issues at work. So he wrote a long 2-page letter to his Sheikh, Hakim al-Ummat rahmatullah alayh, complaining about all the difficulties in his life. And Hakim al-Ummat rahmatullah alayh responded to him and told him that, when I read your letter, it had the tone which suggests that perhaps you are not enjoying even one bounty of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Subhanallah. He didn't sympathize with him, tell him, read this wazifa, read that wazifa, I'm making dua for you. He got right to the core that the tone of your letter is such, you're listing your complaints, whilst it may not be your intention, but it gives off an impression that you're not enjoying any bounty of Allah. Think of the bounties of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala that you're enjoying. And this is a key ingredient, a core ingredient towards enjoying happiness in life and being content in life. When you look around you and you say, hey, what are the bounties of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala upon me? They're innumerable, but let me see a few. I woke up in the morning, all my limbs are working. I woke up in the morning to shelter over my head. I woke up in the morning to warm water. I woke up in the morning to, clothes from which I could choose. What can I wear? So many shoes, so many socks, so many sets of underwear that I had an option to wear. I woke up in the morning with a car, fuel in the car, with the ability to drive the car. I woke up in the morning with the ability to communicate. I woke up in the morning and there's milk in the fridge, and there's bread in the kitchen, and there's eggs in the pantry. I can eat. There's food to eat. Then I can eat. I don't have any digestive issues. Look around you. I've got a job, even if it's not a high-paying job. I've got a car, even if it's not a smart car. I've got a house, even if it's not a palatial home. Even if I'm renting my home. So in that way, subhanallah, it's absolutely amazing. It's absolutely amazing how you can then become grateful. It gives you perspective. It's not going to remove your difficulties from the equation. It doesn't mean you don't have to deal with your difficulties. It doesn't mean that you're not allowed at all to feel, sad or depressed or a little bit down because of your difficulties. This is what helps you. The sense of gratitude. It gives you perspective. It makes you realize that the glass is half full, not half empty. May Allah Ta'ala make us from amongst those who are fortunate enough to be grateful to Him, because the Quran tells us very few are grateful. i'malu ala Dawood shukra wa qalilun min ibadiy ash-shakur. And the more you show gratitude to Allah Ta'ala, the more Allah Ta'ala will increase for you. All right, it's just gone 13 minutes past 7. What can we look forward to between now and 9 o'clock in what remains of Sabahul Muslim? Coming up in a bit, our hadith for the morning. Then we speak to Nishan Bolton. Another incident of racism at the school, where a teacher told a grandmother that coloreds are trashy. And a black teacher was then called a racist pig. What does this tell us? Why do we still continue to have these kinds of incidents? Then just after 7:30, words with Malana Waja, tafsir of Surah Banu Israel, 7:45, we speak about different issues happening locally and internationally. After 8, Bafana Kumalo joins us on the line to talk about action to be taken against Finance Minister Enoch Godangwana. That's what they're calling for. That's the Global Men Engage Alliance. After allegations of sexual harassment against him, we continue our discussion on Khadija radiallahu anha, and how she played a part in the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as part of the focus on the Azwaj Mutahharat. And close to the end of the program, we speak about Botswana hitting a historical goal in its fight against HIV. Professor Francois Fenton will be our guest. Whatever's in your mind, you can WhatsApp us, you can SMS us, you can email us, and we will discuss it, inshallah, and share your interactions with our listeners. It's now 14 minutes past 7.
Hadith Discussions on Sabahul Muslim with Maulana Sulaimaan Ravat.
So we are still in the chapter on honoring the sanctity of Muslims and exposition of their rights, having compassion and mercy for them. The hadith we discussed today, hadith 236, and Anas radiallahu anhu عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه متفق عليه. Anas radiallahu anhu narrates that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, none of you can be a believer until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself. This narration is in Bukhari and Muslim. We've been speaking over the last few days that Muslims are a single body. And if you are a single body, the hand must desire the goodness of the leg must desire the goodness of the eye must desire the goodness of the ear, because a shortcoming in any one will result in pain for the entire body. Similarly, we should desire goodness for everyone, every Muslim. Ibn Imad said this hadith includes unbelievers as well. We should desire that they accept Islam and enjoy the benefits of Islam like we are enjoying. And it refers to matters of the heart. It refers to good conduct. It refers to giving preference over to others over yourself. That's all part of wishing for others what you wish for yourself. You should desire that they must have the same degree of respect, honor. They must also have a pleasant life, not in terms of what you're enjoying, in terms of what you would like to enjoy. So the same kind of respect, honor, life, favorable conditions, pious, obedient children, etc., that you want, you must want for others as well. In terms of the akhirat as well, not only in terms of this world. Like you would want safety from punishment in the grave, you would want to cross the bridge of Sirat with the speed of lightning, you would want to drink from the Hawd al-Kawthar, via the hands of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. You would want shade under the Arsh of Allah. You would want Jannah without reckoning. You must wish the same for every Muslim and every non-Muslim via them accepting Islam. That is the sign of a believer. Otherwise, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, you are not a complete believer until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. May Allah Ta'ala make us from amongst those who are truly fortunate to love for others what they love for themselves. It's a difficult thing to do, but it's an exceptionally noble thing to do. May Allah Ta'ala grant us all the tawfiq.
This is Sabahul Muslim.